Mike Perry expressed his frustration about receiving a tax bill of more than $800,000, saying he's shocked by the amount he owes. He posted a photo on X and described the situation as the biggest robbery in sports, arguing that his tax burden makes it seem like he is far wealthier than he actually is. According to Perry, everything regarding his finances was supposed to be set up properly by his tax team in Miami, but somewhere along the line, something went wrong. He emphasized that he spent years training, taking punches, bleeding, and pushing his body to the limit, only for the government to benefit in the end. After Perry shared his post, one user replied stating that the letter he received appeared to be a notice from the IRS claiming unpaid taxes. Perry responded by insisting that he is fully up to date and that the letter refers specifically to the 2024 tax year. He said people shouldn't try to clown him because the IRS is already doing that. Another user asked how many years the bill covers, how much money he earned, and how much he saved. Perry revealed that the bill is for just 1 year and that he saved a little over $1 million, which is why the current situation hurts so much. He explained that 37% of that amount equals roughly $629,000, which doesn't match what he is being asked to pay, suggesting something is wrong. Perry then stated that he is seriously considering retiring. He said that his dream was to earn enough to live peacefully, camp in the woods, and finally enjoy the fruits of his labor, but now feels like he's being prevented from having financial security. He joked that the government acted as if they were saying, "Oh, you thought you were rich? Give us everything you have." He thought that this was finally the moment where he was supposed to have money, but someone mishandled his finances. According to Perry, his accountant recently told him, "Hey Mike, we just saw the Jake Paul money," to which Perry reacted angrily because that money had already been there for a while. He believes someone in his financial team neglected their responsibilities, and now he's suffering the consequences. Feeling overwhelmed, Perry said he is ready to sell everything, pull his money from the bank, hide it, and either accept time in prison or disappear completely off the grid. Daniel Cormier shared his belief that Arman Tsarukyan is currently the toughest possible matchup for Iliad Topuria in the lightweight division. According to Cormier, there are a number of exciting names in the mix right now, and he acknowledged that Paddy Pimblett is fun to watch and has a bright future in the sport. However, Cormier emphasized that when discussing the very best lightweights in the world, there are two athletes clearly at the top. In his view, Islam Makhachev, now competing as welterweight champion, and Arman Tsarukyan are operating at a different level, and Iliad Topuria sits right in that conversation as well. He added that there is no longer any debate about that trio being in a class of their own. Cormier went on to say that he found it unusual when Paddy Pimblett stepped into the Octagon after Iliad Topuria won the lightweight belt. In his opinion, Pimblett's win over Michael Chandler, while meaningful, did not justify him being positioned as the next title challenger right away. Cormier said that the UFC now faces the challenge of removing the lasting impression of Pimblett standing in the cage with Topuria immediately after he became champion, because that image created expectations that may not match the true competitive picture of the division. Cormier then pointed to Tsarukyan's most recent performance as proof that he is the most dangerous opponent for Topuria. He highlighted Tsarukyan's physical attributes, describing him as big, strong, explosive, and exceptionally well-rounded. In Cormier's breakdown, Tsarukyan can do nearly everything at the highest level. He can wrestle, strike, defend takedowns effectively, pressure intelligently, and sustain a high pace. However, what Cormier finds most threatening is Tsarukyan's top control, which he called a major problem for anyone in the division, particularly for fighters who rely on speed and movement like Topuria. Cormier stated that this is a genuine concern for fans of Iliad Topuria because if there is anyone on the roster who can replicate the style and approach of Islam Makhachev, even partially, it is Arman Tsarukyan. His combination of grappling strength, positional dominance, and durability makes him a uniquely dangerous challenge. Cormier concluded that a matchup between Tsarukyan and Topuria would not only be one of the most competitive fights available, but it could also determine who truly belongs at the top of the lightweight division. It appears that both Dan Hooker and Renato Moicano are interested in facing each other next following Hooker's recent submission loss to Arman Tsarukyan. After the fight, Hooker provided an update on his condition, explaining that he was immediately taken to the hospital, where he received scans to ensure he was medically cleared. He confirmed that everything was fine, and although doctors told him his nose was broken, he clarified that the injury actually occurred during the weigh-ins, not during the fight itself. Hooker didn't offer excuses for the performance. Instead, he said there wasn't much to break down and that he simply took a big shot at the #1 fighter in the world. He acknowledged Tsarukyan's skill and said that calling the decision dumb was just honesty. He described the loss with the mindset of swing big, miss big, and emphasized that he accepts the outcome and is ready to move forward. After his hospital visit, Hooker received a call from UFC executive Hunter Campbell, who checked on his condition. Hooker explained that he answered the phone jokingly with a sad tone and immediately told him, "Renato Moicano sucks," using humor to process the loss and to express his interest in facing Moicano next. Hooker said he asked for a fight with Moicano because he wants to get back into action and is not interested in holding up the lightweight division. He is willing to fight someone ranked below him if that is what it takes to stay active. Hooker suggested the matchup with enthusiasm, saying they should have an old man fight and settle business inside the Octagon. He stated that he would love for the fight to take place close to home on the UFC Sydney card scheduled for February. Hooker described Moicano as a fun matchup and someone with whom he could share entertaining, back and forth, both inside and outside the cage. He said the fight makes sense because both are coming off difficult losses. In his words, "We both suck. We both got cooked. Islam cooked him. Arman cooked me. We'll have a cook-off." Not long after Hooker's comments, Renato Moicano responded publicly on X, sending a direct message to Hooker and writing, "Dan Hooker, easy money," signaling that he is not only open to the fight but also confident that he would win. Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov clashed on social media after Khabib promoted a digital collectible project known as Papahas. Reports claimed he made millions of dollars in sales within a single day, but shortly afterward the promotional posts were deleted from all platforms except Telegram. This raised suspicion online, leading some to speculate that the project could be a scam. McGregor reacted strongly, saying there was no way that a man who built his reputation on humility and loyalty would use his late father's name, along with Dagestan's culture, to push NFTs and then delete the content after fans paid for them. He implied that supporters were left robbed of their money and accused Khabib of manipulating cultural identity for profit. McGregor also shared a report claiming Khabib made 350 million rubles, more than $4 million, in one day. He wrote that the situation was a stain on Khabib's father's name and criticized him harshly, saying that instead of honoring the legacy of a beloved parent, Khabib turned father's plan into father's scam. McGregor contrasted Khabib's actions with Islam Makhachev honoring his own father by celebrating with 2 championship belts and proudly stating that there are not many fathers of double world champions. Khabib then fired back, calling McGregor an absolute liar who has been trying to tarnish his name ever since the night he was defeated. He insisted that good people do not run scams and that his digital Papaha project was simply a collection of exclusive digital gifts meant to celebrate Dagestani heritage. He described the Papaha hat as a cultural symbol that represents discipline, respect and a connection to ancestry. Khabib emphasized that the collectibles could be shared with friends and family through Telegram, which he called the best messaging platform in the world. Khabib followed his response with a video explaining the significance of the Papaha and how it symbolizes the values passed down by his father. He spoke about every man in his village growing up with it, learning that strength comes from tradition rather than physical power, and that one day his students would carry the same symbolism forward. He encouraged people to treat the digital Papaha as a meaningful gift. McGregor ended by demanding that Khabib apologize for involving his late father in a money-driven project. He argued that something cannot be sold and called a gift at the same time and used insults to accuse Khabib of exploiting both culture and family to profit from fans. Khabib responded once more by sharing a photo highlighting that he personally treated 56 former drug addicts at his rehabilitation centers in Dagestan. He told McGregor that he should come to Dagestan, adding that people there would take care of him since Mexico clearly didn't help him. Tony Ferguson stated in a recent interview with Helen Yee that he firmly believes he would have defeated Islam Makhachev if they had met during his prime years. Ferguson reflected on how he viewed the development of both Makhachev and Khabib Nurmagomedov during their time training together. He explained that, in his opinion, Islam was always one of the guys who pushed Khabib in the practice room. He compared their dynamic to the relationship between Aljamain Sterling and Merab Dvalishvili, noting that when Sterling stepped aside, Merab finally had the room to fully shine. Ferguson suggested the same thing happened in Dagestan, that Khabib's presence overshadowed Makhachev and delayed the world from seeing his full potential. Ferguson described Islam as a highly conditioned athlete and wished him success, but insisted that if they met during his best years, he would have kicked his ass. He added that when Khabib's father was alive, Islam stayed in the background out of respect and did not want to surpass Khabib while they were both active. According to Ferguson, only after Khabib retired and shifted his focus to family matters did Islam truly step into the spotlight and become the dominant force he is now. He said that Islam has now become his own athlete and no longer concerns himself with Khabib's legacy, which Ferguson respects. He acknowledged that all fighters are ultimately trying to push the sport forward and influence the next generation, even though competition remains fierce. Ferguson then expressed confidence in his own training system, claiming that 1 or 2 years training in his academy would make any fighter better than Dagestani wrestlers. He said this bluntly and stood by it. Ferguson went on to reveal that there are only 2 fighters left who he would be interested in competing against regardless of time or location: Conor McGregor or Khabib Nurmagomedov. He said both matchups would sell tickets because the hype around them would be massive whether the public loves it or hates it. He said that if he were put side by side with Khabib anywhere, even at the White House, it would create fireworks immediately. Ferguson finished by teasing what fans have long wanted to see, saying that if the opportunity ever arose, everyone would witness Khabib vs. Tony, round 6, and urged the promotion to make it happen.